if you're spending $20 to $50 a day on Facebook or Instagram ads and you don't really know which numbers to watch, then you're not actually running ads, you're guessing. And guessing, that gets expensive. I'm going to show you exactly what to do right now. Okay, I wanted to show you inside of my ads manager on some ads that I'm running, and I'm going to go into some detail here. So I hope you don't mind. I'm going to get into the nuts and bolts of it because I don't think people do this enough. And especially if you're starting out and you don't have a lot of data and you're not exactly sure whether to turn something on or off, listen, this takes practice. It's not going to happen overnight. Now, sometimes you're going to get quick wins. You're going to fill up your webinar. You're going to get a ton of people on your email list, whatever it is, and that's fine. But you still need to know this stuff. So if you ever want to be able to manage your ads in a way that's going to help you take it to the next level. And when you're starting out, you don't have enough data about how many sales are coming from which ad. And you can't really track that effectively, and it doesn't pay. You can track it effectively, but it doesn't pay to have a tool like Hyros or Wicked Reports or something like that in the beginning, because you're not spending enough money and you're not getting the stuff through fast enough to make that effective. So instead, I'm going to show you what front end metrics you need to be looking at, and you just got to kind of own it. You got to own that, hey, this may not be perfect, but this is how I'm judging the success or failure of my ads until I get enough data and I know what's working and what's not. The other thing is you can't copy off your neighbor necessarily. Just because your friend over here who's in the same niche gets it for this amount doesn't mean that's what you should be doing. It could be, but it may not be. So you have to be careful with that. So this is a campaign. I'm just showing the one campaign that I'm running to my newsletter, and I have the budget set really low. Now this is at the campaign level. So where it says budget here, it says ad set. So it's not going to show you here. So I'm going to kind of click here so we can go to the ad set level. So you can see I had 2 campaigns running here. And by the way, the dates are on June 12th and 13th. So it's just 2 days worth. We're going to look at like a whole week and so forth in just a second once I go through these numbers. But you can see I have them each set at $20 a day. And if I just look at these 2 days, the 12th and 13th, you can see I spent 32 between those 2 days there and 33 here. And here's how many leads I got on each and what I paid for each of those. So you might be thinking, oh, $33 seems like a lot. And actually it does. That's not my goal. The goal was to get them for about $13 or less. Now, the reason I do that is because I know my numbers. I know based on the targeting that I'm going to do, what my lead costs are going to be. You may not know that yet. If you're in, let's just say you're in health and fitness, right? And you're running ads to your lead magnet. Well, you should be able to get leads, $2 to $5, something like that. But if you're in a business coaching niche, you're probably going to pay for a lead magnet, something like this. You're probably going to pay between 10 and 20, something along those lines. So you may not have those numbers to begin with, but you need to have a goal in mind before you start running ads, and then you're seeking that goal, right? And you just need to know your numbers with that. All right, so you can see in this case, I did not feel like $33.19 a lead was good, and I probably should have left it on for a little while, but I didn't, at least not at that point. I'll show you a couple other things I did here in just a moment. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of click on this ad set so we can look at the ads. So I have all these videos. Now, I've actually ran all these before, and by the way, this is a super simple video. I recorded that in my stinking car. It's not fancy. I didn't, go out and try to do a professional shoot or anything like that, because that's mostly not necessary, especially for social media ads. It just does not, it doesn't help you, and at least not in the way that most people think. You don't even have to heavily edit it. And you can actually see, I'll show you this right here if it'll show, yeah. So you can see. Pretty simple, right? Like it's just me. I have a t-shirt on. I'm like just hanging out in my car in the parking lot somewhere, no telling where I am. And that's all I did. So most people they tend to overthink it. So let's look at these metrics and talk about what they mean. So you know the budget, then this is the amount that I spent so far on those 2 days. We're going to go into that in some detail in just a minute. I got 6 leads, $5.40 per lead. I got 11 link clicks, meaning they clicked on the ad to go to the landing page. I use that number when I'm calculating all my metrics, not whatever my landing page, if I have high level or, which I do, or lead pages or ClickFunnels or whatever, I do not use what they say are page views because they overcount. They way overcount. Facebook knows how many people clicked on the link. It doesn't mean they necessarily hit the landing page, but good chance that they did. So I would rather go with that number because it's more accurate. My click-through rate is 3.94%. Oh, great. What should that be? Well, it depends again. It depends on your niche. Typically, minimum is 1%. If you're in the health and fitness, relationship, or some kind of specialty sub-niche, then you're probably going to be looking at least 2% or better. On videos, you usually get a little bit higher, but a lot of times your conversion rate's a little lower. So you just have to balance that out if you're doing videos. Right here is the cost per click. This is the conversion rate. So in other words, how many link clicks did I get versus how many leads did I get? So it converted 54%, which is great. You're going to see that change though here in a minute. This is my video hook rate. What that means is people who watched at least 3 seconds. And then the hold rate is the number of people or the percentage of the people who, after they watched 3 seconds, made it past 15 seconds. So are these numbers good? No, they're really not. Now, that's okay. Those right now are vanity metrics. If I'm getting my cost at $5.40, I'm happy. So I don't really care that this isn't that great. But this is not going to hold. We're going to look at it over time. All right, the other thing I wanted to kind of show you is I like to, and actually before I get there, so how did I set up these columns to begin with? So what you'll do is usually you'll see something like this, and these are default columns. You just come over here and you click Customize Columns, and then you search for them. You can just type them in or scroll down, and then you just move them around here to the way that you want. Now, the conversion, let me go back here, and then you can name it. So like I named this basic front end. The conversion rate, hook rate, and hold rate are all custom metrics that you have to input the formula for. They're not difficult at all, but you do have to input that. So I can show you how to do that on another video if you want, just let me know. That being said, that's how I had this set up. Now I want to show you a breakdown real quick. The breakdown is, I'm going to click on breakdown, and this says recently used. Well, I'm going to show you placement. So if I look at this, it's going to tell me that my Facebook Reels got 4 leads at $3.62, right? So remember, I got 6. So there's 4, there's 5, there's 6. The Facebook Reels mobile web version got 1 at 51 cents, and Instagram Stories got 1 at $1.99. Now, you could look at that and say, oh, well, this is great on the Facebook Reels mobile web, whatever that means. Got it at 51 cents, but those are not enough numbers. And the biggest problem that people have is they make big decisions on small numbers. And I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. Okay, so let's just say that I looked at this ad on June 12th, which I believe is the first day I started running. All right, so I got, remember what I wanted. My goal was to get leads at $13 or less. So I got 2 at $10.06 each. Okay, that's pretty good. So if I go to the 13th, I got 4 at $3.08. Awesome. Awesome. But look, I want you to take note of something. Facebook only spent $12.31 that day, even though the budget was $20. Why? Well, we're going to talk about that too. I feel like I keep saying that a lot. We are going to talk about that. All right. So let me look at the 14th. Oh, look, I got no leads and I spent $30.85. All right. So here's where I'm going with all that. If I looked at, Friday, I was hitting my goal. If I look at Saturday, I was like, great, this is doing great. I'm looking at Sunday, I'm like, oh, this is terrible. So if I just look at one of any of those days, I'm not getting the full picture. That's why you cannot hover over your ads like that. You have to give them a little bit of time because Facebook, they want control. They're going to show the ads to people that they think are going to take the action. And especially in the beginning, they don't know who's going to take that action. When you input your ads, Facebook will take your budget. So in this case, it's $20 a day, and they're going to say, okay, that's $600 for the month. So on this day, we might spend $30 like they did in this case on that Sunday. And on this other day, we're only going to spend $12. So it averages out to $600 over the month. That's how they'll do it. So you might end up spending $40 in one day, right? Now, the problem with that is that Facebook does not understand who's going to convert for us from a high-ticket coaching standpoint. They understand e-com. All that's built around e-com. So you do have to pay attention, and you have to make adjustments accordingly. You cannot just let this go and let Facebook figure it out. You cannot let Claude figure it out, or any of the AIs. They do not know. They do not understand your business. They're going to tell you all the data that they have based on e-com, because that's all that they have. They don't know. They don't have the numbers for your business or coaching businesses in general. So most of everything they're going to tell you is a guess. And if you want to do a guess, I'd rather you do it than the AI. That's just the way it is. So now let's keep going. I feel preachy on that. All right, on the 15th, so I got one at 23, 16th. We're not going to go through a whole month. Be glad. 2 at 10:53. That's good, right? And on the 17th, oh, look, I got 3 at 5:95, but it only spent 17.84 out of my 20. See what I mean? It doesn't know. Meta doesn't know. You can pretend like Meta knows, and the higher your budget is, the more it can help you. But in general, it really doesn't know. It spent $30 on one day and got 0, right? And it spent 17.18 on this day and got 3. Let's see. On the 18th, see, again, a big goose egg here. Great. So if I look at the week, how did it come out? Well, 12.02, spent 144.20, got 12. I'm under budget. Under my KPI, I'm good. So what if we look at, let me go back up a level. All right, so here I did have this one running as well, and I ended up with 5 at 29.76, but my average is 17 at 17 at 17.23. So this is a lot closer. So I would be okay. This is not a great example because it doesn't exactly show that, but I would be okay if this had averaged to 13, even if this had been like at $25 or whatever the number needs to be, 22. So if that had been the case, I would have left that on because my average works. Why? Why do I look at it that way? Because I'm not always looking at the lowest cost for one specific ad. I'm looking at the lowest cost on average, because I would have missed out on leads I could have otherwise gotten because I'd already set my goal at $13 lead. All right, now, what do I do here? So that's a week. Let's look at the month. I think the month was worse. Yeah, see, it went worse the rest of the month. It got better and then it went worse, and I forgot now. Anyway, so you can see now this one was 23 at 16.53. Let me just get a little, I think it's the same one. Yeah, so I had this one running for a little while and it didn't do well, and this one did worse. That's what I have to pay attention to. So now, how do I fix it? Well, if I look at my click-through rates, those look pretty okay. But if I look at my conversion rate on my landing page, that's not okay. So I'm driving them to my newsletter, which, by the way, if you don't have this newsletter, you should. It's awesome. I'm not going to go into that in detail right here, but this is the landing page. So this is a Brutal Truth Marketing Digest. It's, it is the best landing page I've ever done. No, but it's okay. I mean, it looks really good on mobile. And by the way, make sure all your pages look great on mobile. Doesn't matter what they look like on desktop. Just make sure they look good on mobile. But I think that's the weak link, because my conversion rate, I would anticipate or expect that to be between 30 and 40% or better. And it's not. So that's where I want to put in the work. It's not the ad that's the issue, at least not yet. Now, I could do another ad, of course, and I will, or test these other ads, of course. But I really want to get that conversion rate up, because that's going to be the biggest lever to pull. If this goes from 25 to 30%, then that's going to make a big difference for this. So that's the first thing that I'm gonna work on, and that would be the first thing that you should work on. Okay, need to do a real quick commercial. Ready? This is the Meta Ads health check. You want to know if your ads are doing okay? Fine. The link will be in the description. This is free. You don't have to opt in for this. You can go check it out. So you just pick your coaching niche. So let's just say you're a relationship coach. What are you doing? Let's say you're doing your lead magnets. Let's say your monthly ad spend is $600. Let's just say you look up your link clicks, and now you know how to. You can go back to your ads manager and say, well, this is not for the month because it's not the whole thing, but we know it's about $3 or $4 a click, which yours will probably be better than that. Let's just say you ended up with 300 clicks and you generated I don't know, 60 leads, and you got, you know, 3 calls booked, and each client's worth $2,500, and your close rate's 35%. So you generated $2,625. Click Run My Diagnostic. So your traffic metrics are healthy. Nice. Your lead capture, not too good. 20% opt-in rate is in the normal range, which it can be, but you want to test your headline and offer framing to hit a 3 times return on ad spend. So not as good as where it should be. All right. Your lead to call rate looks good, close rate, offer economics, and so forth. And then again, you can do this like if you, let's just do that again. Let's just say you wanted to look at your, well, let's just say a webinar. You're going to go all out and you're going to spend $3,000. You get 1,500 clicks. Out of that, you get 300 leads. Whoops, 3,000 would be nice, right? You end up with 10 calls booked. Average client value is 2,500. Your close rate's 35%. You generated 8750. Now, see? So it's saying, hey, watch your traffic. You're kind of getting out of control there. Same with the lead capture, but this is the first thing you need to fix, your lead to call rate. The lead to call rate is 3.3%. That's not going to work. And then this is your close rate, looks good. Offer economics is good. Scaling readiness, you got to fix this other stuff first. You cannot scale until you get this fixed first. All right. Again, that's totally free. The link will be in the description. You check it out. Now, back to this. Let's just look at one more thing before we wrap it up. Let's look at these right here. I just want to see what it looks like. So you can tell this one right here was at 2111. Well, that's not, I mean, I probably could have lived with that. This one right here, 5 at 2111 on that target audience, because I know that target audience has a harder time converting. And my click-through rate's fantastic. Love that. But again, the conversion rate, look at that. It's terrible. Just terrible. But something else that's interesting, my hook rate for this is almost 40%. That's what you should be shooting for. My hook rate is like 40%, but the hold rate. So I'm getting their attention in the first 3 seconds, but then they're just dropping off because they don't give a crap by the time it gets to 15 seconds. These are the things that you have to look at. That's how ads work. Hopefully all that made sense. And once you get these numbers dialed in, then over time, you're going to be able to see patterns and you're going to get better at this. And it won't take you 2 minutes to run through this and figure it out. You're going to really, once you start seeing the numbers get dialed in, it's kind of fun. And so then you can make the right decisions instead of constantly making the wrong decisions. So you're going to want to check out my scaling framework video, which is not recorded yet. So go ahead and subscribe. So you'll get the notification on that, but you're going to want to check that out next.